about these WhatsApp messages that we're seeing in the Daily Telegraph, suggestions that Sir Gavin Williamson, who I know that you have worked with when he at the Ministry of Defence, saying that teachers didn't want to work during the pandemic. And what was actually happening at the top of government at the time?
These are absolutely important questions, which is why it's so critical that we have a proper inquiry. What we've seen now in the last few days is the Daily Telegraph get an immense amount of data. My concern is that we're going to get this drip feed, as we do when this data sort of comes out, and then people wanting to provide their angle of their story. I do hope that the inquiry is able to wrap up and provide its conclusions soon, because it's so important that we learn lessons from this. There could easily be another pandemic in the future. Mistakes were made. There was no rule book. There was no blueprint for us to follow in the past as to how we respond to this virus. But ultimately, challenges were made, and I think accepting some mistakes were made as well. Yeah. The idea that we sort of pick through individual things, I can't really comment because I don't know the details.
No, but what you can comment on more generally is the fact that, without leaving the detail aside, what does it say about a former health secretary who gives up 100,000 WhatsApp private messages, many of them, one-to-one, end-to-end encrypted, I'm sure there's data protection issues there, to a journalist who he knows is a COVID lockdown denier? What does that say about somebody at the top of government?
The way you articulate the question, I think, speaks volumes. It's not in my character to want to start making personal comments like that. Matt Hancock has chosen his new path of where he wants to go and how he wants to do it. I just hope the inquiry, getting back to politics and the very important questions that many people across the country, including your viewers, will want to know, what happened? What happened in the care homes, with the decisions surrounding those, with loved ones that affected them? That's the details we want. We don't know the exact truth because this is one side of the story and another, all very, very serious. All the more important that the inquiry is made. It could be with the care homes, just to focus on that for a second, that perhaps the inquiry could do a limited study on that and produce that much earlier. I'm worried with these inquiries that they drag on sometimes for years, and that will be, I think, it's unhelpful. We need to get the results now, and I think people want answers as soon as possible.
You circumvented my question, so I'll let you off on that one, but I suppose I'll ask it in a different way, which is, would you release all your WhatsApp messages?
No, I wouldn't. I think that was done for personal gain, and I'm sorry about that. A bigger picture. Look what has happened this last week with our Conservative Party. For the first time, we've illustrated some statecraft that I've not seen for quite some time. That's what the electorate wants to see. Rishi Sunak managed to land that deal, which showed what happens when you have leadership, determination, vision, focus, bridge building, rather than the bombastic partisan aggression that we've had in the past. We're starting to regroup. You saw that in the chamber yesterday in Prime Minister's questions. That's what we should be illustrating, a new culture of wanting to do what's best for the nation. So all these stories about what's happened in the past now, I think are a distraction to where we want to go. We have a possibility of winning the next general election, and we need greater discipline and focus. That's what the nation wants to see.
Yeah, apparently he did it because she was ghostwriting his book, a book that sold 4,000 copies.
Is that right?
In the first 2 weeks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that'll put a smile on your face. Thanks for joining us, as always.
You.
Thanks very much.